We are on. Welcome, lads. Another group call on our Sunday. Thanks for your time. Today we're going to be talking about mindset because Ironman is very much a physical sport, but a big part of this is how we handle it mentally as well. So, just some questions to get us rolling. Kano, I got a question for you. When you started with me, you were my first ever athlete that came on, which is pretty incredible. You said to me that you wanted to go sub 10. That was your goal. I want to know, in your head, what's your thought pattern around that goal? Like, is it something that you believe is possible? Is it something that you believe will absolutely happen one day? Like, what's your thought pattern around it?
Oh, I mean, definitely going to happen. It's just a matter of what time it's going to happen. And it's one of those things, when I saw what you were doing, I mean, I jumped on when you were at about Cairns, probably a bit before that. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, well, I mean, the good thing about following you was I'm like, if this guy can do it, we can do it. And I was like, and I'm looking at it and like, supposed to be like Port Mac was supposed to be the sub 10 thing, but now I'm pushing that a little bit further because of, not fit enough for it yet. But it's more of a, it's going to happen, and I've just got to keep, head down, make it happen. So
okay, yeah, good. I like it. Finn, you want to go sub 9 at Busso? Is that correct? Is that your next goal, or?
Yeah, definitely. Sort of in the same boat as Kanos. You just set yourself a goal that seems difficult or unachievable, and you just make it happen no matter what. That's what I did with Cairns after a few setbacks. So that's my sort of mindset.
I want to dive a little deeper here, and boys, I'd encourage you as well. Like, I'm not trying to lead you to any answers or anything like that, but it's okay to be vulnerable, and I'm trying to dig a little bit so we can all learn. Okay, so Finny, when you think about like whatever your next goal is, it might be sub 9, it might be going to Kona and things like that. When you think about that goal, what's the actual like internal monologue? Like, I'm gonna help you a little bit here from my example. When I started with Cairns, I had just an unwavering amount of confidence that I was going to do Cairns in under 10 hours. Right? It was just belief. It was just like absolute belief. But I hadn't really got to the point where it wasn't like it was kind of just like overconfidence, I guess. And I guess I'm trying to figure out like what's the difference between maybe overconfidence and true absolute surety and belief in yourself. So
I'm not really sure, but I guess I'm kind of the opposite to you. Like, I know I can make things happen, but as you saw at Cairns, I was underconfident. I don't know. I feel like it's very person dependent, really. Like, I knew deep down everyone believed in me, and I knew I had the skill set to do it. It was just I wasn't that confident, but I knew I could do it. I just
deep
I
down,
didn't think
the word that you use there. Deep down, you felt it. Jesse, what about you, man? Like, you've obviously got sub 10 goal coming up in Busso, and you're moving towards that goal pretty nicely. What's the internal monologue at the moment like for you?
Oh, great question. At the moment, it really depends day by day. Some days I'm like, oh yeah, good, I've got it. And then other days it's like the conversation I had with you, just like, you start thinking about it more and more, and then you just start getting so anxious about, previous times, and you're like, why am I hitting it? And then you just go down like a little spiral. Yeah, as much as I absolutely want to go sub 10, I'm also just want to take the expectation off myself. Like, I think I can do it, but the more I focus on getting it, it seems like the less the more I'm moving away from it. So I just got to let go and keep training. And
it's super paradoxical, like this conversation. And like, again, boys, I'm no psychologist or anything. I'm just sort of having conversations here and talking. It's really interesting hearing from other people's perspectives and stuff.
But as well, I don't know who sent the sub 10 calculator, right? Which it's funny for me because I go into the calculator and I see people like Finn. We got like Finn and Jesse and Max and like all these guys that are like, oh, I can just like run for 10Ks at like 3-minute pace. And like, Jesus Christ. But like you go through and you put the stuff in the calculator and you're like, oh, okay, I'm well off where I thought. I go through the kind of blind optimism. I'm like, oh, I could do it. It'll be fine. And then I jump on the bike and then I'm like, oh, okay, maybe. And then I put the times in that I've done and I'm like, okay, I'm well off. Like,
okay, so Kano just used the word blind optimism. Now, I think an amount of that is really healthy. You need to be optimistic, boys. You need to be confident. You need to have this, unwavering belief, essentially. But there's also something else we need to do. And like Kano's touched on this here and I was going to get to this a bit later, but you need to outwork your self-doubt. You need to put in the hours and the effort to convince yourself that you can do what it is that you're wanting to do, right? So you can like me leading into Cairns, I had this one side of things, this blind optimism that we spoke about, where I was like, I can fucking do this. I know I can do this. And I could, but I didn't outwork the self-doubt. And there was still this lingering like, oh, am I actually fit enough here? Do I actually understand fueling enough to get this right? And it undid me and I failed, right? What did I do from there though? Just literally got to work, another 5-month build into Busso, and I fucking absolutely outworked my self-doubt. I got to a point where I wasn't even thinking about sub 10, I was thinking about sub 9 because I just put the hours in. Now, it's not all about just doing hours on the bike and hours on the pool and everything like that. There's more to it. But in terms of specifically mindset, which we're talking about right now, it is. If you can just work and just do the reps and get the training done, you get to a point where you're like, yeah, I know I can do this. And it's not like an overconfidence, blind optimism thing anymore. It's like yeah, I'm fucking going to do this. And I'll be honest with you, lads, I have this blind optimism about winning Kona. I haven't got to the point where I've outworked my self-doubt yet. I'm still in that process, right? But I've got to have that belief in myself first. And then I've got to work my ass off to get to the point where I'm like, yeah, I know I can fucking do this now. It's just about putting it all together on race day. Love that from you, Kano. Really, really good. Anyone touch on that?
For me, I'm more like anxious about the uncontrollables. Yeah.
Go on, say it again, Jan, sorry.
Yeah, like for me, I know I put in the work. I know I have the fitness to go, close to like 9:30 on a good day, sub 10 definitely. I guess I'm more anxious about the uncontrollables. Like I'm really worried about, like getting a puncture, just something going wrong with my stomach, something I can't control. That's like what I'm the most anxious about because I know this is not something I can outwork. Yeah.
Who else has those anxious thoughts about those sort of things? Kano? Yeah. I certainly did as well. Who thinks now, and second question to follow up on that, who here thinks that is appropriate? Who thinks it's right? Who thinks we should have anxious thoughts about that sort of stuff?
I don't think we should. We shouldn't do it, but everyone has it.
It's okay to, but we absolutely should not, man. We shouldn't, and it's the key word there is shouldn't. We shouldn't have those thoughts. It's best not to have those thoughts because if we constantly spend energy thinking about the uncontrollables, it's less energy that we can spend thinking about the controllables. And the uncontrollables are literally things that we cannot control, right? So in the lead up to Busso, I had gone from the Netherlands, which is super cold, into the heat, which is in Busso, which is super hot. I didn't have any sauna protocols or heat prep training or anything like that. I just said, it is what it is. Everyone else is going to be the same boat. There's nothing I can do about the weather. I'm going to rock up as fit as I can be on race day, control what I can and control on race day, and just do my best. Now, I got lucky. It wasn't crazy hot. I didn't have any punches. There are going to be days, boys, where you get unlucky. I had a pretty unlucky day yesterday, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. But there's no point if I go out next on my bike and I'm thinking, fuck, I could have another day where a car pulls out in front of me. Well, I'll never ride again. But we shouldn't, and that's the key word is shouldn't. It's not easy, a lot easier said than done. But Jan, we absolutely should not think too much about the uncontrollables. But
I mean, that's quite uncontrollables is quite a broad thing as well. Like, I mean, I think there is a kind of handy aspect to it of like like getting a puncture and everything. And then there was the call that we had to make sure if you've got a puncture, you can work on it. Like there is a certain aspect of it where thinking about them and thinking ahead is very good to be able to, you know, steady the tide. But like you say, the weather and everything, trying to think about that's not useful.
Yeah, we shouldn't just turn a blind eye to it. We should be thinking about it and preparing for it if that does happen. And on top of that, let's say, Jan, I want you to answer this for me, Jan. If let's say you're racing in Talon in 4 weeks' time, whatever it is, and you get a puncture, what is your mindset? What does your brain start doing? Do you feel victimized? Do you feel frustrated and lose your lid and get pissed off with the world? Or do you get off the bike and start fixing it and keep a smile on your face? What would you do? Oh no, he's not here. He's gone. Bugger. Who wants to answer that?
Probably sending it down a hill at like 50
I'm
kilometers an hour.
I'm here, but I'm just on the bike. I'm listening while I'm riding. No,
Okay.
so I mean, I would fix it. I really like the part I'm anxious about is that I feel like with my fitness, I am like on thin margins. You know, like things need to go right. And I guess I'm like worried about, you know, that happens, then I miss it by like 10 minutes or something stupid, right?
Yeah.
That's like the part I'm worried about. But I mean, of course, it's fixed and I move on, right? Yeah.
Good. And I mean, like you'll have a fucking good story to tell if you fix the bike and you manage to make it anyway. And if you don't, well, the hero's journey is the part of the hero's journey is failing, lads. Like we've got to try to understand that the more you fail, the greater the success feels. If I didn't fail cans, Busso would not have felt so good, boys. Like it's just a reality. Like I'm just not making that up. It just felt so much better because I failed the first time around. And if we fail, it's like, damn, that sucks. But holy shit, how good's it going to be when we eventually get it? You know, Finney didn't get his ticket to Kona, but I guarantee you when he does, it is just going to be like fucking sweet as anything. He's going to feel like, holy fuck, I've done it. And now I get to go and race over there. So don't see failure as like the be all and end all and the worst thing in the world, because it can lead to some pretty epic special moments later on.
I 100% agree. Like I spent a 6-month training block training for Busso Ironman last year, and then I crashed 6 weeks out and couldn't do it. But I wasn't upset for some reason. I just knew what it was. I accepted it straight away, and then as soon as I could, got back into training. And then I had such a good prep for the most part, or it was enjoyable. And then Cairns was just unreal. It's the best experience ever. So, like Alex said, it just made it a whole lot better.
100%. Cool. All right. Moving on. I want to ask, and anyone can chime in here, we've sort of talked about like mindset a little bit. What are some actual limiting beliefs that we might have in this group here? What are some, things that we might have in our mind where we go, that's the reason that I can't do whatever it is that I'm trying to do, or that's causing me to, have setbacks and things like that. Anyone got any limiting beliefs they might be aware of?
Just thinking that other people are superior to you, and when I always do that. I think, oh, they're elite. I can never be like them, but we're all the same. They've just put in the work. Like I never thought I could do an Ironman, but here we are. You boys probably thought one day you'd never do an Ironman, but soon you'll all do an Ironman. So
yep. And if I could give Finn a little bit of credit here, I reckon there would be, how many people got on this call? 9. I reckon there would be 8 people here that would think, shit, I'm never going to be as good a cyclist as Finn. I reckon all of us, every single one of us has had that thought at some point, which is a complete limiting belief. Finn is absolutely our best cyclist, but fuck, boys, that is just a limiting belief, and we are going to chase him down. He's not going to sit on top of that throne forever, I promise you. I have a limiting belief around my swimming at the moment. I'm aware of it. I can't seem to shake it, but I definitely think that I am a 140 per 100-meter swimmer, and I just can't seem to get out of that limiting belief and get into like a 130 per 100 swimmer. But it's just up here, lads, and it's up here. And it's outworking that self-doubt. It's fucking realizing that I don't understand my technique well enough. It's realizing that, I haven't spent enough time in the pool to be as fast as Cade or as Lachlan. That's just a limiting belief. Who else is aware of some other limiting beliefs that they have?
Yeah, I've probably got one about the cycling. that I've felt it creep in probably the last 4 weeks. It's like just can't cycle more than 110k. Like 100% can, but every time I try, something fucking happens, and then I can't feel good on the bike. Like even all my races and that, I just feel so shit by the end of it. So yeah, even the cadence on the bike, it's like
That's
one so much shit going on up there.
Yeah, 100%. And I've thought about this a fair bit on my rides recently, Jesse. So I'm glad you brought that up. Jesse's had a bit of trouble picking his cadence up, getting a little bit faster. I think you're starting to get the hang of it now, which is really good. But for a bit of a while there, he was stuck around sort of 75, 77, 80 cadence. We wanted to bump him up. And I remember I start my rides, and when I first start my rides, I'm at a really low cadence. You're getting into the thing. And the reason being is because it's actually easier to control the bike at a lower cadence. So then we have this, most people would be sitting at a lower cadence, controlling the bike really easily. And then your coach says to you, I want you to bump this up to 90. And you start spinning the pedals really quickly. And all of a sudden you're not handling the bike really well. And you think, well, fuck that. No way. I'm so used to doing this and pushing power here. I'll go back to that. It's way better. But absolutely, and I've noticed this recently after speaking with him, on my rides when I'm starting out, I'll start at sort of 78, 80. And then after about 15 minutes, I can put it into a lower gear and I'm spinning faster and I get control of the bike and I've settled. So if I think, now I don't know this because I'm not Jesse, but I think if Jesse keeps practicing getting into that faster cadence and keeps spending more time there, it's just going to get easier. And he's going to outwork that self-doubt that he can't sit at a higher cadence. So yeah, maybe you can give some more insights on that, Jess, but that's just what I've noticed myself.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm that kid that's just like riding really, really fast but not going anywhere with the high cadence. And probably last week on the Thursday session was the first time I'd actually felt like strong. And I was like, wow, thank fuck. Like I was about to go back to my road bike. But yeah.
That's good. That's good. Anyone else? Limiting beliefs?
Yeah, my limiting belief is without shitting myself.
Say that again, Louis. Shitting yourself while you're running?
No, that was Jordan, I think.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Give me a sec. I can't run hard without shitting myself.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's fair enough. Like, if you have this thought pattern constantly that it's going to happen, it probably will. The chances are that it will. So that's just, I don't really have an answer around that, but keep working on trying to have a coffee before your runs and get it all out before, and then the more time.
Can I say something to Geordie?
Yeah, go.
I had that as well for so long. I had like 4 long runs in a row. It gets to 11, 12k, and I would shit myself. Like I was in the middle of England. I can't believe this is recording, but in the middle of England, countryside, and I'm like, it's coming. I had to dodge into like a little bush, like for 4 or 5 weeks in a row. Couldn't control it, and then did some research and slowed. But mate, that was on my mind for like 2-3 months. So yeah, it does get better. I promise you.
That's funny.
Yeah, my worst one is I had to do an return at Swanbourne not that long ago.
Oh god. Yeah, well, you want to avoid doing poos if you can. Louis, I saw that you were trying to chime in before, mate. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, mine would be I just get so frustrated that I'm not hitting targets or not hitting where I think I should be. And then I'm just like, fuck this. I don't want to do this session, and just get so worked up in my brain.
Yeah, cool. I put down on one of my lists here is that a limiting belief that I thought someone might have is that, if they don't hit PBs every session, that they're not improving and they're going backwards. That was certainly one of my things when I first started this. I assumed that every single time I'd go outside for a session, it was going to be better than the last one that I did. And that's just not the case. And, Louis, we've had a big chat about this really recently. The biggest thing is we've got to just try and keep building confidence. And the moment, I think somebody mentioned it earlier in this call, was they'll use the word spiraling. I think I'm Jesse. The moment we start to spiral and have these negative feedback loops in our mind going backwards, that's the point where we have to really focus on trying to change it and going back up. And Louis had a bad one the other day where it just kept getting worse and worse. And, we left that session with the complete opposite of what we were trying to achieve. It was meant to build a bit of confidence and get, closer to his Ironman distance. His race is coming up really soon. And it just left feeling like I'm depleted and I didn't get the the targets that I wanted. So in that case, in that situation, I think it's really important to lower expectations. He look at the other side of the coin. He went out and did like a 6-hour session. It was a 5-hour ride on the bike, hour run off the bike, and he finished feeling flat and disappointed. When no one else, like, there's a fucking very small percentage of the world that's going out from training on 6 hours on a Saturday. Like, it's such a small percentage of people that if you flip the coin and look at that positive, it's like, holy shit, that's pretty impressive. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, I did 6 hours of training. The spiral's moving in the upward direction. So we've had a bit of a chat about that, but yeah, 100%, mate. I think it's good to be aware of it. We definitely don't need to hit PBs every single session, that's for sure. Anything on that one? Anyone want to touch on that? Any other limiting beliefs, lads?
I think, Alex, a lot of people get really worked up about the Strava side of things. I think Finn brought it up last week, but I'm part of a triathlon group in Armidale, and we do squads on a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday morning swimming. And a lot of people are trying to chase in the swimming side of things. Oh, I just want to be that 1 second quicker per 100 over this distance. Instead of, like, I really like how you make it a 4 to 6 week block before you test versus testing yourself from a Monday and a Wednesday, if that makes sense. So a lot of people, and I've also gotten carried away when you first start doing it. Oh, wow, I'm doing 6-minute pace. Now I'm doing 5:45, and then it's a 10K run, and then I'm blown at 5Ks because I'm thinking I can do that kind of stuff, which has taken me a while. I've been with you since, I don't know, October. And it's just a thing that it really is just slow down. This thing takes ages. And I'm nowhere near any of your times. I'm trying to go sub 13. But I look at all you lads and I think, you know what? It's just chipping away at every session the best you can. That's it.
100%, man. I think it's really important to look backwards, lads. I forget to do this often. I continually look forward to the goal and keep trying to move in that direction. But occasionally you just got to look back and just realize, holy fuck, look how far we've come in that X amount of time. And, if you give yourself a bit of break and then start again, you'll keep moving in that right direction. So I hope, Louis, you have a better session tomorrow, mate. I'm sure you will. But yeah, valuable stuff from you as well, Nels. Right. Any other limiting beliefs before we move on? Anything else we want to touch on? No, good. I liked that. That was nice. Right. Who am I going to pick on? Who are we going to pick on? Actually, Brad's joined us. Welcome, Brad. I'm not sure how much you've been listening to this, but question for you, mate. Think of a session that you've absolutely nailed one day, right? Just hit it out of the park and felt super good, gained a lot of confidence from it. What was the mind doing, or what was the mindset throughout that session or when you finished? What was some?
Can you start that question again? Sorry, just start that question again.
Think of a session that you had that just like gave you a heap of confidence. You absolutely smashed it, and you came out of it feeling like, fuck yeah, we nailed that. What were some of the things going on in your mind at that time that we could share with the boys and maybe try and replicate?
I've had a few sort of reasonable. I mean, I'm not up to big hours. I'm sort of like 3-hour maximum on the bike at the moment. But I know last year, coming off like a 4-hour bike, it's like a half-hour, 45-minute run. Just coming off that session and not feeling completely knackered, knowing that I've still got hours left in me. Just having that sort of confidence, knowing I've still got more to give. Yeah,
sick. Finny, any big sessions before Cairns that stand out, and what was going through your mind at the time?
I think I'd like a 180-kilometer time trial, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty difficult. I was just extremely focused on the numbers and executing, making sure I was just very consistent with my power. And then, but that gets really difficult. So after like 3 or 4 hours, you're like, this absolutely sucks. But you just keep at it. And then by the end of the session, you look back and you're like, that's the best ride I've ever done in my whole life. And so happy that I just pushed through and got it done. So that was probably my best one.
Yeah, nice. I think it's important that we can, like, we remember the moments that it all goes right. It's really helpful to when we get to our race day and we think about that 180K time trial and think, far out, I've done this already. I'm going to absolutely smash it today, and keeping that positive internal monologue going. But it's also really important, lads, that you can get those gains, those mental gains from your shit sessions as well. I bonked on one of my bricks recently, about a month ago or 3 or 4 weeks ago, and like very easily could have just left that session and been like, fuck, I'm like, I missed it, and I'm disappointed, and I'm pissed off, and I'm angry, and got very little from it. But I remember thinking like, gee, I just bonked hard, and I just had that feeling that no one ever wants when they get in an Ironman or a big training session. And then I just shifted the mindset to be like, I can't have that at Kona. I cannot get to that point in Kona. And if I realize that in this session, and I just know that I've got to execute better there, that's a huge positive, right? Even though I failed the session or let myself down or whatever, I've taken a positive from it and been like, I know now that I can't get to that point. Otherwise, I'm going to have the most horrible experience at Kona. There are two sides to every coin, and there are two sides to every situation in your life. And I think it is a skill to be able to spot the positive one and to pay attention to that and to feed that one. If you can see the positive in any situation, and there is always positive in every situation, you feed that one and it grows. I promise you, just feed the positivity. Yes. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit too much now, but I'm enjoying this call. It's a good one.
No,
I feel as well with the sessions that I don't want to do when I see it, and I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, oh, a threshold run and a massive swim. It's like, we're going to do your biggest swim you've ever done today, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. And then I get to the pool and I'm like, I don't want to get in the pool. And then I get in, and when I've done it, then I'm like, okay, thank God I did that. Like, I get a lot more out of the sessions that I would just like the whole time. Like, I'll be in the pool every lap being like, oh, I'm closer to done. And then as soon as you're done, I'm like, well, thank God. And like, you check the pace and you're like, okay, that wasn't that bad. Like, those are kind of the best sessions.
100%. Right, we'll finish off with just some quick discussions on how we can keep training our mindset to be positive. Anyone can chime in here. What are some ways that we can, help our mind keep looking for that positive side of the coin? Finn's on. He's about to go. I reckon. Look at him. He's go on, mate.
I've a question, but it's kind of related. But maybe I'll ask it afterwards.
All right. Does anyone want to go? What are some ways that we can, help keep a positive mindset?
I normally find that two things. One is just start reading like a book of like some type of mindset book, if it's like 2 or 3 pages a day, because then like by day 1, by 2, just repetition, and it starts to get more and more and more, and then it starts to get ingrained, because it's really hard to just be like, oh, think positive. And it's like, oh, but how would I do that? It's like, just start trying to look for those 1 or 2 things every morning that kind of lights you up. And then another thing is like an anchor. If ever you feel really good about anything, you can like press a certain part of your body or do something like that, and then like keep reinforcing that, so that anytime you feel shit on a run, or you're like on the bike and you're like negging out, you can like press the part of your body that made you feel happy previously, and it like gives you a little boost.
I like that. An anchor, you called that, eh?
Yeah, a little anchor.
I don't mind the anchor idea. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Finn?
It's super easy, and especially for me in my past, to fall into like a negative feedback loop. My thing's glitching. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not.
We've got you.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. It's just super laggy. Yeah. You fall into like a negative feedback loop when you think like you do a training session, it was okay, but then you think, I'm still not good enough, and you just need to sit back and realize like what you're doing and just appreciate it and just enjoy it more. Not take it as serious. Although it might be a very serious goal, just try find fun in it.
That's a good one. Try to find fun. I really love that. The one that I had at the top of my list was trying to train positive self-talk. I hope he watches this back. One of our athletes, Ryan, he's our American athlete. He commented on one of his workouts recently, and it was a threshold bike session. And to be honest with you guys, like he nailed the session. I was indoors, so he was pushing the power, and for the last 2 or 3 reps, it was actually above the power that we'd set. His heart rate was really high, but he was cooked as well. Now, threshold sessions are meant to be hard, but he commented saying like, "Oh, I failed this session. Didn't have the legs today. Heart rate was super high, and I'm really cooked." And I looked at it and I texted him back saying like, "Man, we need to work on your mindset." It's actually what sparked the reason for this call. I said to him, I was like, "You've just had a really tough session and you've pushed the power that we set. Your heart rate was high, but that's okay. You got through a session. That is the whole looking at the negative side of the coin. There are so many positives to what happened in that session, and he just spotted all the negative ones, right? And I really want you guys to practice looking for the good in all the things that you do. Sometimes it doesn't go to plan, but there is always positives to it. And I think it is a skill to keep telling yourself, like literally talking to yourself. You're constantly having thoughts in your mind. And if you're hearing those thoughts and being like, no, we're going to keep doing these positively, I promise you, your mindset will just keep going in that direction. It might have little divots, but you'll trend in the right direction with your mindset. Like, yeah. I got another friend, Todd. He's not with us at Sub 10. He won't while we're watching this back. But every time he texts me on Instagram, he compares himself to me. And he's like, oh, man, I'm nowhere near a rider as you. And he's constantly comparing himself to me. And I'm just like, man, I'm your friend. And he's a very, very good swimmer. I said, like, you're an excellent swimmer. But every time he talks to me, it kind of deflates me because I'm like, well, just talk positively about yourself, man. I struggle to tell him that because he's a good friend of mine. But you boys are my athletes, and I love you all. And I just want you to know that if you ever talk negatively about yourself to me, on my end, I'm thinking, damn, like, pump yourself up a bit, boys. Like, see the positive side of what you're doing because it is so bloody important. And it's good in absolutely every life situation that there is. You just got to look for it. Fiddy's smiling. He's happy with this. Everyone's having a laugh. This is good.
That was nice motivational talk. It's very valuable.
This is the positivity flowing out of the guy that just got launched down a ditch yesterday, so it's good.
Mate, I can't stress this enough, man. It's like you have to. Don't get me wrong. I'm sort of, I'm leading here, and I'm saying that like this is the right way to be. Boys, I have the shit times as well. Like there are absolutely days where I don't think positively. So I'm not saying that you have to get it right all the time. And I'm certainly human like the rest of you. But if I'm coaching you, this is what I'm telling you. You need to try to be as positive as you can, as much as you can.
I have a question for you, Alex.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought like super deeply about why you've done a challenge so insanely hard? Like I know the surface level answer everyone says is like, oh, I want to challenge myself and whatever. But have you ever thought really deeply about it?
Are you talking about like starting the sub 10 or the Kona one now, or both? Or
maybe the sub 10 or the Kona. They're both insanely hard challenges. You don't have to share if you have.
Mate, that's what we're here for, buddy. I appreciate the question. The insanely hard challenge now of trying to win Kona, I'm doing it. I've set this one because I truly think that in the next 3, 4, 5, 7 years of my life, I am going to be at the peak level of performance that I will ever be. I'm never going to get, after I start falling off the cliff, I'm never going to be able to do what I can do in the next sort of like 5 to 7 years. So I thought I would set myself a challenge that if I were able to achieve that, I would achieve that goal at the peak level of my performance, which I just think would be really cool. The side note to that is, and part of the reason why I started the whole sub 10 journey was not to get into coaching, funnily enough, although I'm very glad that it's happened. It was to inspire other people to be able to do hard things. And that is an underlying reason of why I'm doing everything at the moment, is to have people text me saying, dude, I've just signed up to a 70.3, because that just fuels me, man. It's kind of like a selfish thing for me. Every time I know that I've inspired someone else, it makes me feel good. and that's selfish, I guess. But it's a good selfish to have, you know. So I guess, yeah, they're the two reasons. Another little side note to it, boys, is that try to achieve this goal is absolutely going to keep me relative on Instagram in the triathlon scene for the next X amount of years until I get it, which means we're going to have lots of leads coming in. We're going to have plenty of people applying for the coaching. So that was another whole reason behind it. So yes, I have thought about it, Finn. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. I feel one thing I realized with like doing Ironmans, like I think my first ever half Ironman, a big factor that drove me was to seek validation from my parents and or just like or just get over that finish line and you think you're going to be a new person. And I think without doing one, it's a big realization that once you do cross that Ironman finish line, you're still the exact same person. And for me, doing my half one, it was a big realization, like, why am I actually doing this? And I had to take a step back and realize, okay, I want to do this for me, not to impress my parents, not to like seek comfort from my parents or whatever. And yeah, it's just you have to be okay with who you are, and like the Ironman's not going to change who you actually are. That was a big realization.
100%, man. And I think that any of the boys in this chat or doing Ironmans and elsewhere, if they're doing it for validation from someone else, they're doing it for the wrong reasons. I think you should be doing it for you, to see what your body is capable of, to do hard things, to inspire other people. They're the reasons you should do it. But I think it is also like it's a magical thing pushing your body to the limits, lads. And I would highly encourage you to keep chasing that feeling, to push yourself to the limits, because it's you learn a lot about yourself, you learn a lot about the world when you're doing it. So yeah, it's good. Right. Anything else we want to touch on before we end the call? It's been a good one. I've enjoyed this. Anything else? No. I'm going to pause the recording and we can stay on if we like.